back to an episode of The Why. I'm your host, Dylan Mullins. This is presented by All American Roof Pros and All American Heart Studios. Hanging out with someone who's becoming a new friend for sure, Mr. Evan Hachey. Evan, you want to kind of give like the runway, ramp to the audience of who you are?
Sure, yeah. Evan, I'm from Sandusky. We're based out of Sandusky now, originally born and raised in Findlay, Ohio. We started our convenient construction company about 4 years ago, coming up this spring. And we've just grown a lot since then. Started out just doing handyman work and kind of this and that, and it took off from there. So
cool, man. I noticed in the show notes you said, that was something that was kind of almost like a COVID project for you to support the family. You want to kind of like give me some insight onto that?
Yeah. So I was actually wanting to do something completely different other than construction. I was actually going to be opening up a brewery. And then when COVID hit, all the bars shut down, and I said, well, that's a sign. So, I was planning on doing handyman work, just kind of supplement pay while I was getting that brewery up and off the ground. And the brewery didn't happen, so we just kept it rolling.
What, give me some insight on the brewery, man. That's an interesting piece for me. Like, it's part of your story. Why a brewery? Like, what was the intent behind that in the beginning stages, right?
Yeah, it was just something started doing in my garage probably 4 or 5 years before then, and just kept growing it. And I had kind of I wouldn't call it a professional system, but pretty substantial homebrew system, and started tinkering with different recipes and things like that. And me and my buddy got together. We're like, hey man, we make some really good beer. I bet some people will pay money for this. And so we just started going from there. And like I said, then you saw how it ended that time, but may come back someday. So.
Yeah, man. No, that's super cool. The for me, I had a business in the beginning. The origin stories here. I had something that completely fell on its face, like bad. And then I was kind of hitting when I walked around the shop here. Like I did a liquidations business in the beginning too during COVID. That was right before COVID technically, and then we really started hitting the roofing a lot heavier thereafter. It's just funny, like the entrepreneurial bug. Once it bites you, man, like I don't think I can do anything else. I don't know about you. Like I couldn't work for somebody else.
Right, and that's it. Now, for a long time when I was a kid coming up, I always felt like I was going to own my own business someday. I just never knew what it was. Jumped around a few different things from owning a bar. Like I said, we talked about the brewery. Me and my brother were talking about doing storage units, for passive income. But all those things had in common is someday I was going to work for myself.
Yeah. Where do you think that comes from? Because not everybody has it. And full disclosure to the audience, if everyone did, man, like we wouldn't have people to work for us.
Right.
So where do you think that comes from for you?
Well, I know my grandfather was a businessman back in the day. I didn't really know him well, but just I think some of that's in that blood, seeing that somebody that is related to you did that, and grew this. I'm not even just 100% sure what it was, but he did have a pretty successful business model for a long time, and so I think just knowing that other people can do it, part of that, just digging in the American dream and being true to, hey, why not? We only get one time around. Roll the dice, bet on yourself, and see what happens. And if it fails, I can always go back to working for somebody else. It's going to be tough, but that would be a fallback plan, So.
Yeah. No, for sure, man. And it's always in the back of your mind, but like I had somebody tell me, I think it was a mentor years ago, like if you have a plan B, plan A is never going to work out. Like if you're the old adage of burn the ships, what was it during the revolution, not revolutionary, but when they were discovering the Americas, when they had discovered, they determined they were going to settle it, so they burnt the ships. Like that's where that comes from.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think once you have, for me, when I started to have that mentality of I'm burning the ships, like there's no going back, because you're probably a lot like me, it sounds like, and maybe I'm wrong, where I just kind of dabbled in the beginning with my business. Like I was just like, I wasn't really the roofer. I was just kind of the side gig roofer. Mm-hmm. And then once I took it seriously and burnt the ships and stopped with all the other BS that was going along with it, it changed the tune. I mean, was that something, is that an origin story for you? Like in the beginning, were you all in on the handyman stuff? Or?
Oh yeah, no, like I said, I wasn't. That was something that would just have some cash in my pocket to pay the bills while I was getting the other brewery thing off the ground that never happened. So then once we started and saw how the model could work, we pursued it and we just went after it. And then, as we grew and brought more people in, the handyman part that model doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so we just focus more on the remodeling, do a lot of interior, kitchen, bathroom. We do some exterior work with porches and additions and things like that. And, so it's honestly, it's crazy to see how quickly things can go if you know where you want to go.
No, that's perfect, man. And you're right. It's once you have a clear direction, once you've defined where we want to go, then it changes the game. So, my question for you is what is I'm assuming at the end of your days, man, you don't want the headstone or the eulogy to be like Evan Hachey was the owner of Convenient Construction. Have you thought about that? Like, what you want that to look like? Because here's the reality, and I might have talked about this on the last episode. I apologize if you're listening concurrently and you just hear me say the same crap all the time. I'm super passionate about it. At the end of the day, man, we aren't promised tomorrow. So what does your legacy look like for you in a perfect picture scenario?
I don't really know. Haven't put too much thought into it. I just, I would hope people remember, if we're talking about the legacy part and the headstone, just that I'm a generous person. I put it all out there. I didn't leave nothing on the field, and really just always pushed towards what I want.
Yeah.
And I'm not apologetic for it. And I guess I don't know.
So one that resonated with me when you said all that, the generosity piece. What does that look like for you? I mean, what does that look like for you with where your goals are going, and where does that look like for you today, really?
Okay. Yeah, so it kind of goes back to when we first started our company and started hiring employees. I always wanted to make sure that this was a place that I wanted to work for.
Yep.
If I could ever have a chance to build my own company, how would I do things different? And a lot of that is taking care of those guys. You take care of those guys, they'll take care of your customers for you. So I think the generosity piece is more so making sure my guys come in, they're healthy, they're happy, they're wealthy. We provide a lot of things for them that I feel like I haven't had afforded to me in the past with, just the way we work. We don't work weekends. We try not to work overtime. We, make sure our guys are getting their checks on time every time, and all those things. They're very secure. And, besides our company, though, or besides how we treat our employees, we do donate a lot to local charities. One of the ones that we're really big on is Project Noel.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
It just fill us in on it a little bit.
Okay, so it helps families that are in need because of an opioid overdose, right? So actually, it was founded by one of our workers' wives.
That's awesome.
She founded Project Noel because of circumstances they were going through. So that's one of the big what do you want to call it? Organizations that we support.
It's a common theme, or it's not a common theme. It's a common mission. That's what I'm looking for. That's right. Now when your guys go to work, they know that they're supporting more than just your paycheck. For me, it's never been about the money. Mm-hmm. I mean, in the beginning, it is. I think a little bit like the vanity of it, but I think after that, man, you get to a point where you're like, I can have all the money in the world, but if I'm not fulfilled in what I'm doing, or my guys don't have a direction on what we're working for, aside from to line my pockets, then what does it matter? So that's super cool to find out that you're passionate about that. How could I? My brain works like this, man. But how can I help with Project Noel?
So they do have a lot of fundraising events, and so it's pretty common that they just give us a call or shoot us a text message. Hey, can you put a basket together for us to raffle off? They always do things for Christmas time. They try to provide gifts for kids in the communities, and they're big. They're not just in this area of this state. I think they have chapters in Florida. I think in the Carolinas now, and it's just there's nothing about that organization that you can't support.
That's
you know.
awesome.
So, but those are ways, and if you want more information, I'll get you in contact with her.
Hook me up, because it's something we we gladly around here, and just in general. I mean, we have a very generous heart here as well, and we just try to put that stuff together. We'll drop that. We'll drop a link. Get us a link, and we'll drop it in the show notes here, just so folks can check it out, support it. I mean, it's your cause, man, and I think that's something that our communities need.
Yep.
You know, that's super cool, man. What so like, I read, you know, you and I have talked, and you're working on some stuff on the back end of the business that, you know, you're asking about some procedural stuff, you know, and we're working on those changes, you know, and that's always good, man. That's super forward thinking of you as a leader, and I just want to congratulate you for thinking ahead like that. Most guys don't do it until the shit's on fire, and they're like, what do we do? You know, now the boat's burning to the ground, you know, and or burning and sinking or whatever. So that's super cool, man. What got your mind thinking in that direction that you needed to make that change?
Most of it is because, you know, I have so many hats to wear, like we do as business owners, you know, from it, whether you're overseeing or you're the one boots on the ground. You know, you have to worry about sales, and you have to worry about, you know, the admin, you have to worry about, you know, the project management, all that stuff. And I got to the point where I couldn't wear all those hats as much as I needed to, and there's only so many hours in a day. So, you know, fortunately we're in a position now where my business partner can come in, and he's starting to take over a lot of the PM and field work, so I can focus on the admin and the sales.
I want to ask about the partner thing, man, because that's always a hot topic when it comes to owning a business, right? Was that he your partner in the beginning, or is it a new addition partner, or
no, day one?
Day one partner. So this is the guy from the brewery, I take it?
No, totally different. Totally different.
So,
no, this is a guy that I worked with in the past, and like I said, we just helped each other do these handyman jobs back and forth, and then we said, hey man, we could do this all the time, and so now here we are.
That's super cool, man. I know I have partners here in the business as well, and I brought them in a little after I had started. My dad a little bit later, then I brought my brother in. But it's a weird dynamic sometimes, man, because like it's a good thing to have that checks and balances system, but also at the same time, it's, you know, sometimes you just want to be like, man, I'm just making this decision, you know. And how do you guys control that balance? Sometimes, because like I'm sure you guys are both type A personalities where you both want to be the alpha, or otherwise you wouldn't have started the business, right?
Right. And I think it's really important when you choose a partner, you don't choose somebody that thinks like you do, because then you get into groupthink things where, you know, there's only one way we do things, and part of the reason we've gotten to where we are is because we are challenging each other, and he'll come up with an idea, and I'm like, dude, no, that is not, no. And then I'll think about it a little bit, and I said, okay, you know what, we can run with that, you know.
Yeah.
So we really complement each other well. We come from different skill sets. He's more of the rough framer, carpenter, and, you know, I was the finish guy, the detail kind of guy. So just from that dynamic, we worked pretty well together. Early on, it was just us. And so even now, you know, that still carries into, I'm the detail guy. I take care of the details, and he you know, more of a broad stroke kind of guy. But I think it's important, like you said, is not to necessarily go into business with a friend. Not saying that we're not friends, but not to choose a friend, but choose a partner that complements you. So yeah, and then someone that's going to challenge you and know that, hey, this is going to make us uncomfortable, but, you know, we're here for each other to push through. So
that's cool, man. What would you say your most challenging moment in business ever was?
I would say, so I had about a year and a half ago, I was actually working on a roof out on Johnson's Island, and I had an accident, and I fell off a roof and shattered my ankle. And I was off of work from September until February. And so Carson had to run the business, and since I was at home on workers' comp and stuff, I wasn't allowed to even answer the phone. I wasn't allowed to do anything with the business. And so, you know, he did a great job in just picking up that torch and going and keeping it going through that winter while I was literally sitting at home in the chair. And I couldn't do, you know, this is my passion, you know, this is my life, this is my business, and I couldn't do anything about it. And So I think it's just a testament to, you know, how we set things up, how we have our workers trained, and how they know that, you know, they don't need to take direction from us to be able to get their job done. And you know, without having me there to help guide or help physically with my hands get stuff done, the fact that everything just got done and we came out of it stronger is pretty crazy.
No, that's super good on you to overcome that, man. Like, we did a little bit different when I removed myself from the business for the first time. But it's crazy all the holes you find in the boat that you've just been bailing water for. Once you step away, and you can actually seal those holes. It was probably a good awakening moment for you, if you will. Like, hey man, we got to fix this, and this. It probably was for the better. I mean, it sucks that your ankle got shattered. Like,
oh yeah.
You know, I've fallen off 3 roofs myself, and that end up jacked up every time. Heck, my brother fell off one, and I caught him one time, and it messed me up more than it messed him up. So, that's super good that you guys went through that. I mean, like I said, it's not good in the moment, but it's always good after.
And you know, when I think back, it's like, hey, if it was going to happen to anybody, it'd rather happen to me. You know, not one of my guys, not my partner. You know, he's still pretty young yet, and I'd hate for him to, you know, be hurt like I am now. And the bitch of it is that we were getting ready to transition me into the office that following spring anyhow, and this just made sure that happened. So,
where do you have a challenge at? The balance is always hard, right? Everybody always talks about this work-life balance, which is a bunch of bullshit. It is. I don't care what anybody says. There's no balance between it. Like, there's going to be moments, especially when you're a business owner, especially in the trades, where you're going to have to take a phone call because someone's got a roof leak or someone's got something going on with their house that we caused or whatever. So, like, how do you find that I don't want to call it work-life balance. I want to call it like work-life juggling, I guess would be the best way to put it. You know, how do you make sure that you get Evan time too?
Well, I know that when I'm off work, you know, but I always call back if it's something that needs addressed right away. You know, we'll make a phone call. We got guys, we're pretty spread out with our crew, so, you know, if something did like that pop up and we had to send somebody, we could. But really, we don't work weekends, like I said, and that's because I want to come in fresh on Monday. We want our guys to come in fresh on Monday. But
has that always been like that?
I've worked 3 Saturdays in the last 4 years.
Bro, I want to come work for you. Shit, I still work a lot of Saturdays. You know?
Yeah, but, you know, it's important, and it's tough because especially when you're swamped and you're behind and you always have work going on, you know, you just go back to, that's why it's really important to me to have really clearly defined, you know, principles and really clearly defined, I guess principles is the right word for it. So that you don't have to make decisions like that, you know, whether it's...
Core values or these are just non-negotiables.
Yeah.
It's probably the better way to put it, right?
Yeah, and like I said, unless it's something really, really major, we try not to, and
awesome.
And that's tough, you know.
No, that's super cool though, because your guys can count on that, right? Like we struggle with that. I'm not gonna lie. When we're busy, man, we gotta get shit done. Like it is what it is, and we've always been like that. So kudos to you for being forward thinking about that. What are like, we always have core values within our business.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have core values for your own life that you live by?
Well, sure, but I don't know if I can, you know, express that in words. I guess it's just more of a mindset, more of a moral compass, I guess.
Yeah.
You know.
What are those? What's that look like? Just give me some examples, man. Like, is there something that like you feel like you do different than most of the general public does from a morality standpoint? You know, like for me, I'm very outspoken about my faith, but I also don't. I mean, I cuss. Like it's just part of me. I don't really feel like there's any part of my Bible that says anything different. So like, for me, like I'm very outspoken for my faith. That's a strong pillar within my life. We try to harp on financial literacy just in general, not only for within our business, but just to speak to the public. Like that's something that's missing in our schools, man. Like we have who the hell's using Pythagoras theorem? Like teach me how to balance a fucking checkbook and run a credit score, and how a credit score works. Like, and I'm actually working with Kevin, who was on our last episode. We're working on a Life 101 course for Huron County, and it includes Sandusky, Erie County. and would be a course to teach that, how to change a tire, and it's done through the Revolt Foundation, which is a organization that's pretty near and dear to my heart. But I just didn't know if like you had ever put any thought into that. Like it should be something that should be thought about, because we have them for our business, right? Ours is All American Heart. That's All American Heart Studios. It's who it's presented by. It's happiness, ethical, accountability, respect, teamwork. It's pretty much what I try to live my life by as well. So I'm not saying that they can't coincide.
Right.
But it's just it's something to always think about, man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any kids?
Yeah.
What do you got for kids?
I've got 2 kids. My son is 13 and my daughter's 10.
Perfect.
And he's going into high school next year, and that's crazy.
That is, man. You got a high schooler, man. I got one due in May, so that's my first. So
congratulations,
thanks,
man.
I appreciate it. But that's awesome. So
get sleep now.
That's what we're trying to do. The dogs are the worst part, for getting sleep. But what? So like getting a high school or getting a kid that's in high school, man. What's that like in today's world? Because I know like when I was growing up,
Yeah, it's well, I don't know. It's my first one to go in high school, so I don't really have anything to compare it to besides myself, I guess. I guess
right?
I mean, everything now is just so instant. Everything has to be instant gratification. With technology, everybody always has to be in contact constantly, and I just feel like there's a lot of social pressures now that there weren't when we were kids, and from your shoes to your hair to music. I mean, back when we were kids, it was important, but it wasn't like it is now. I feel like No,
it's the phone, it's the TikTok era, it's all that other crap that comes along with it. And there's a lot of good in it. I'm not gonna completely say that all of social media is just horrible, but I mean there is a lot of it that is just like, man, it's just. I don't say it ruined these because this is what they're growing up with. I mean, it's just the way the world is. It's like when people are like, screw AI. It's like, it's coming regardless of everything, whether you like it or not. There was a lot of people that said, screw the internet when that all came about. Right. Guess what? We're here. It's something we have to live with. I was just curious, like, what that looks like, because you said a son and a daughter?
Yep.
So you get the best. You get let's say best and worst of both worlds. What I should say, right? You're getting the perspective from both ends of the stick.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that I got one of each, and they're healthy and smart, and they're really good kids. They really are. But yeah, just nowadays it's I can't say it's different, like I said, because this is my first time raising kids like this, but it's definitely different now than when we were coming up with a lot of things, and a lot of it goes back to, like I said, the social media and the instant. Everything's out there.
It is, and it's all at our fingertips too.
Yep.
So you gave me the piece of advice about getting more sleep, but I'm just going to implore you to give me some, like, what are some things that maybe you wish you would have done different, or things that you did that are different that you wish more parents did with your kids? Is there anything that you can give me as far as advice being a new dad?
First off, everybody's got advice for you.
Of course.
And just let them talk, and nod. Okay, thanks. No, honestly, the best thing is the whole, when they're infants, is to get them on that sleep and eat schedule. There was a book that we read. I don't remember what it was called, but that's what it was all about. And our kids were easy, and sleep when they sleep, and I hope that you and your wife have a very strong marriage, because it will definitely push you guys, between the sleep deprivation and attention for, you said something about your dogs. Your dogs are getting ready to take a back seat, big time.
100%, yeah.
And, just being patient with each other and understanding, and just remember, soak it all in. Because now that my kids are, in middle school, and my daughter's getting ready to go into middle school, they're not as cute and cuddly as they were when they were little. So enjoy it while they're young, and people talk about the terrible twos and all these different stages, and I can't wait till it's over and this and that. And I truly enjoyed raising kids at all ages they were, for all the different reasons. But the day comes when you get rid of the diaper changing station, it'll be one of the best days of your life. Yeah, you won't miss that, I guarantee it. But no, just enjoy it, and take a step back once in a while and realize what you got.
Yeah, and like you said, everybody's got their own shit they want to throw at you. But I think that's actually a really solid piece of advice, really for life in general.
Yeah. Yep.
Just enjoy where you're at. Whether you're in business or you're a single guy or whatever you're going through, single gal. I don't want to exclude anybody. whatever you're going through, like that season of life, you're only going to be in it once. Whether it's raising kids or whatever, live in it.
Yep.
You know, it's too often we get excited about the destination, but not the actual journey. And the journey is what's more fun. I've had more fun building a business than I have to be where I am now. Like I think back, and those times were miserable. There's a lot of them that were, but like that was more fun. I had more fun pursuing my wife. I love being married to you, but you know, I had the fun in that aspect. I had fun in all different areas. I enjoyed different areas, and it gave me different perspectives. So I appreciate that, because that's something that I think too often, like you said, they're worried about the terrible twos and getting out of that, or they're worried about this stage and getting out of that. It's like, enjoy that moment. They're only there for that moment. Like, you only get that back. Time is a thief.
Yep.
And it's just, it's terrible. So something I heard that you said is that it takes a toll. What did that look like for you when the kids were younger?
Well, like I said, catch up on your sleep now. That's the biggest part, is just the whole adjustment of when it's just you and the wife, and then when now it's, you know, you are no longer the most important thing in your wife's life. And, you know, whatever you guys were used to, whether it was your schedule or your house not being destroyed or all those things, you know, you have things the way you like them right now, everything is going to change. And, you know, I can't tell you. It's just something you're going to have to go through, buddy. Like,
no, I appreciate it, man. I just was curious, you know, what that looked like for you.
Yeah.
More than anything. So are you and your kids' mom still together?
Oh yeah, we're married.
I
Yeah.
want to make sure, like, I was
sorry.
tiptoe around it. Is really what was happening there. To be
Yeah.
honest with you.
No. I couldn't find my ring this
I didn't
morning.
see the ring either. So I'm
Yeah.
like, no,
Sorry.
maybe.
Yeah. No. No.
Wasn't
We've
in the
been.
show notes.
It wasn't on there. No, we've been married for 16 years. This year makes 17 years.
That's awesome, man.
So yeah,
Congratulations.
we're doing awesome.
That's a hell of a milestone. I mean, we often like relate things back to like business, right? And like we talk about how like businesses only last, what is it? If you make it 2 years, you're better than 50%. If you make it 5 years, you're better than 75%. Whatever the statistics are. Same thing could really be said about marriage.
Yeah.
You know, making it past those few years, like those beginning years are the hard ones, right? Like once the honeymoon phase wears off and you start to actually be like, man, I don't think I like you as much as I did. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but there's things you find about him, you're like, that's not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. And like I said, your relationship's going to change inevitably once your kid's here.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, it's really important that you have things figured out, you know, with your, you know, and it's again, me and my wife, like I said about my business partner, we have the same morals, the same things like that, but we are completely different, and I think that's what makes us work.
Yeah.
You know, but being able to figure those things out before you have the chaos of having children, I think is really important.
Well, and I think that you're hitting on something there that the rest of the world doesn't understand, and that they want everyone to be equal. And you don't need an equal in life. Your marriage partner, or your wife, your husband, if you're a lady, or whatever you want to be, that's your partner, and they need to compliment you, not be your equal.
Right.
You know, there's things my wife does 100% better than me. You know, like, I am not the cook. I'll throw some stuff on the grill. Like, I put some steaks on the grill last night, but I am not the cook. I am not the person that does that. I don't have the analytical brain to make sure the bills get paid. I just don't. I make the money. I'll bring the money home, but I need someone else to manage that part of my life.
Yep.
And I think that it's super important. Like even in business, when you find a business, like you said, we're hitting on it both ways. When you find a business partner, too often people find someone that they're both salesy types, or they're both. If you've ever read Traction, know the EOS system. There's two things called a visionary and an integrator. The visionary is the one that sees the plan. The integrator is the one that puts it in place. Sounds like kind of like what you have almost with your business partner. The same thing can be said about the home life, man. You need somebody that's willing to lay out the plan for the goals for the house, and then someone that's willing to help you execute it and put it in place. Not to say that we don't work together and work as equals or work equally, but we shouldn't be working as equals. There's things that I'm going to do better than my wife. There's things that she's going to do better than me. I can't breastfeed our children. Let's just be honest.
Yep.
I mean, there might be a medical treatment out there that allows you to do it, but I can't do that. Like, I can't. And the same can be said, and you probably relate to this more than I can, but this is observation. Same can be said about when you're raising kids. There's things that your wife's better at doing than you are when it comes to discipline or when it comes to reward, you know, or any of that stuff. Am I correct there?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And But yeah, it's like you said, there's those roles. Someone's going to be better at this. Someone's going to be better at, discipline and taking care of the kids, doing all this other stuff, taking care of the finances, taking care of the house, keeping your head on straight. And then there's the husband, right?
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
No,
so
you're right though. You're right.
Yeah. My wife is awesome. She really, she's the ruler of the roost. I'll be honest, and she knows she is.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Oh, I tell people all the time, my wife's my boss. Like I don't have. I answer to God, right? We've already kind of hit on that, but when it comes to like work, like I really don't have anyone to answer to here at the office. When I get home, trust me, I've got someone to answer to, and she's got an iron fist, man. She's the warden. Like I never understood why people said that, but I'm like that makes sense now. Like, but don't get me wrong, like I love my wife, and she truly is my better half. Like I'm not just, but she's the one that, like you said, rules the roost. She's the boss. She's got the final say when it comes to just about everything. I didn't want a house. She wanted a house. Guess what we got? A house.
Yep.
So that's super good, man. So the 17-year mark. Once again, I want to congratulate you on that. That's huge. You just don't hear about that as much anymore. It's kind of goes into what we were talking about with the kids. It's a throwaway society.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, oh, that's my practice marriage. That should never be the mentality.
Yeah.
Because it's not. It's fragile. Really. I mean, it is when you really think about it. It's not something to be taken lightly, and I think too often, like, we're like, oh, it's a joke. That's my practice marriage, or whatever. And I'm not knocking someone that couldn't make it through, like, because of whether they were too young or whatever. But how old are you?
I'm 39. Yeah, just.
You guys got married when you were 22.
Yeah. Yep.
That's super cool, man. Like, because that's even, there's a lot of still growing stages that I'm sure. Is your wife probably around the same age?
Yeah, she's older.
Disclose her age, but
she's 6 weeks older than me, and I always tease her about it when her birthday's before mine. Call her old lady, for a month and a half. But yeah.
No, that's funny. So like, but you guys did a lot of growing up, especially you as a man. Like, let's be honest, the ladies mature a little faster than we do. That's why they typically end up marrying an older dude, right? But like typically, my wife, I'm 5 years older than my wife, but you guys had a lot of growing up to do. There's probably like a 5 or 6 year period when it was probably pretty hard. But then you throw kids in the mix, a couple years into that, and then it's like, so like I said, man, that's awesome.
I can't believe she stuck with me through college.
Yeah,
I'm 100% honest with you.
Why is that?
I was pretty rambunctious.
Some boneheadedness.
Yeah. Yep. Rambunctious.
Yeah. No, it's just. I think we all are to a degree. There's all that testosterone flowing through your body, and you're like, I'm just an idiot.
Yeah, I was a 19, 20-year-old kid in Bowling Green. I mean...
Yeah, but especially beachy, right?
Yeah.
So... you can get a degree in kegs. Well, that explains why you wanted to open a bar. I mean, that makes a lot more sense
experience.
now.
Yeah.
No, it's super cool, man. Like I said, kudos to you and the wife. That's something just... I don't want to say it's unheard of, because it shouldn't be, right?
Right.
But it's less and less. It's getting more rare in today's world, and I think the narrative's changing. I really do. I think that people are seeing. It's funny. So I'm 30. I just turned 30, so I'm 9 years younger than you. But I think that your kids' generation is less on that. And it's crazy because everybody wants to say that they don't know how to work, all that stuff. But as you study like as they enter the workforce, because your kids, I don't know where the generational gaps are, but they're not far behind some of the kids we have working around here, and they don't have that mentality, the throw it away mentality. And I'm not saying that it was just your generation or the generation, or not your generation, but the generation behind us that did it. You kind of fall like right in that middle ground, I would say. But because our grandparents didn't do that. They didn't throw anything away, man. Like my grandma was a hoarder, But they made the marriage work. And I don't know where that got lost, but I think it's getting found again. Finally, is where I'm getting at with that. Like I think they're finally starting to see the treasure. We're seeing a revival in our churches and stuff like that, and there's truly an awakening happening. So I think that it's for the better, like genuinely. And I think that we're going to see more 17, 25, 30. When we do I always get choked up, man. I'm a big crybaby. But like when they do the dances at weddings.
Oh yeah.
The anniversary dance, or is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I was like, man, I want to be those people. I want to be the freaking 70 plus married catalog. That's cool.
Yeah.
Me. That should be a goal. And heck, man,
it is cool when you're out there and other people start peeling off, and you're like, okay, all right, yeah, we're starting to get into a club here,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome.
No, that
really
is super cool. So, what are you working on that's not in the business this year? Anything personally that you're trying to get just level up a little bit on?
Not really. I mean, we're just trying to get through everything going on right now, and with the kids and sports and everything right now, I think we're just on cruise control for a little while, and I'm really putting a lot of my time, focus, and energy as far as that goes into the business.
So when you did this, so I just thought about this. When you said that you didn't work the Saturdays, did that have to do with just the family time for you?
Yeah.
No, that's super cool, man. I just put that correlation together, right? Because we didn't really talk about it.
Yep.
But all right, my next question is like, what's the goal with the company? Is it something we have an exit strategy one way or another, right? We don't really think about it until we start talking about it. Either you're going to pass it down or you're going to sell it. Is where are you at? Like, where's your heart at today? Out of curiosity.
I'm not sure yet. If I do, I don't think it's going to be a pass it down type thing. To be honest with you, I'm trying to build this thing up to the point where I can someday walk away from it, and that's kind of my retirement plan, is being able to kind of just manage it from afar still. And when it comes to a point, I'm not saying if somebody walked in today with a briefcase of money, I wouldn't say, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. But, I haven't really thought that far ahead because it's not to where I want it to be yet. And so, I'll get there when we get there.
No, it's super cool, man. Because there's something, and I'm planting these seeds, man. I'm not trying to ask you like hard questions.
Yeah.
We're just trying to plant seeds, like stuff that we should all be thinking about as business owners, especially, just to what the next steps look like. So coming as we wrap up as we head towards the back end here of the podcast, I kind of open up the last few minutes. If there's anything that we haven't talked about that you want to share. The whole purpose of this is to really get out, what your purpose is, what you're passionate about. If there's something we didn't hit on that you want to make sure that we get out there, I kind of open these last few minutes for you to kind of say whatever you need to say, or if there's anything that is on your heart that you want to get out there.
Sure. With this podcast being called The Why, I think it's really important that people realize that you're doing things with intention, and you have to figure out what that is in order to do it. Right. Some people, like I said, right now are on cruise control in my personal life, but I'm not on cruise control with my business and the direction we're going with things. And and it's okay to pause and think and reevaluate. And I think that's how you know what those goals are. And when you take the time to get those priorities right, and you take the time to make sure you know where you're trying to go, then when it comes time to make decisions, it's really easy. You say, does this decision support my goals or not? And if the answer is no, then you got to pivot, and it makes, and not just in my business, in my personal life too, whether it's you want to lose weight, or you're trying to save up for a vacation, or you're trying to do this, or you want, and you come into that crossroads, you say, hey, I got a choice to make. Does it support my goals or not support my goals? And the more times you choose towards your goals, the quicker they're going to come.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to earn $1 million," or "I want to lose 30 pounds this year," or whatever it is. But when it comes time to make those choices, they don't want to make that choice. And so I think it's really important that people evaluate and really visualize or conceptualize where they're trying to go or what they're trying to do. And I just use that as a guide to get me through life, man. And I want to talk about that a little bit. With the why, with the whole point of this thing here is why I do what I do. Really because I care about wanting to grow a business, like I said, that I wanted to work for. And again, the type of business I want to work for was one that cares about the employees, one that makes sure we keep that work-life balance. And there again, there's another decision. Hey, we're behind on work. We got to catch up. But I want guys to be able to enjoy their weekends. So, that's just one of those little things. And it's not always the easy decision, but you got to stand behind your values.
Nothing worth doing is easy.
That's right.
And that's the thing. When you talked about like your purpose and knowing where you're going or the direction. I don't want to misquote someone. I think it was Ed Milet, said that your reason has to be greater than your excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Because if your excuses are better, like, the one that said, losing weight, man. Like, I'm trying to lose. I've been fat all my adult life. Like, I'm working super hard, trying to get on 75 hard, and it's easier for me to go, yeah, man, I just eat the freaking ice cream sandwich. I'll be all right. Like, I deserved it. I earned it.
Mm-hmm.
You start to, I think the better salesman you are, the harder it is to sell yourself. You're like, I can overcome that objection all day, man. I earned that shit. Like, that's my ice cream sandwich,
Mm-hmm.
The million, all of them. You kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, that's right up my alley, man. Like that, and I super appreciate you kind of like encapsulating that back in and thinking about what we're talking about here. So I just want to thank you again.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on,
for being
man.
a guest, and we'll have you on anytime, man. In a year, I've been telling everybody this. In a year, your goals are going to change, and we'd love to have you on and talk about where you're navigating life at that point. And heck, you got a high schooler coming up here. You got a new middle schooler coming up.
Yeah.
There's going to all kinds of new challenges on the dad front.
Yep.
And I know where your business is going at. And I know there's going to be all kinds of new challenges on the business owner front. So I'm super stoked to see where your journey goes as we continue to be friends and have a relationship together. And I'm genuinely happy for you, man, with where life's going.
Yeah, and congratulations again, man, with the baby coming. That's
We're
talking about changing over the next year, buddy. Buckle up.
We're stoked, man. Little girl, and I wasn't sure how to feel about a girl first. I'm the oldest of 4 boys.
It'll soften you up for sure.
I'm already a big softy. People can't tell. Like, I wouldn't mess with that guy at a bar. I'm like, you probably shouldn't, but you should. He said he'll give you a hug afterwards.
Yeah.
But good deal, man. Well, we just want to thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for getting all the way to the end here. Check out Evan. We'll drop his socials down below. You got Facebook, I'm assuming, that we can throw in
Facebook
there.
page.
People can reach out to you with any questions if they're at a similar point in life or they just want to connect.
Yep.
And his business is Convenient Construction. You guys serve all of... Where's your guys' service area? Just we'll kind of give you a little commercial.
Pretty much Erie County. We're doing a lot more in Ottawa County now as well. So
Erie, Ottawa County, if you're up in that direction, you're looking for somebody to do... these guys are immaculate with the interior stuff, and we're working together with them to start doing some exterior stuff too. So we'll kind of team up and make sure we put your dreams into reality. But really want to thank you again. As always, y'all, pay your dues. Share this dang episode. There's some really good content in here, especially for business owners. If you're a business owner and you got some value out of what we talked about today, we would implore you to share this on all socials. That's how we grow this thing. We don't have any sponsors because it's not what we do. I'm paying for all this out of my pocket, so as Andy Frisella says, don't be a hoe, share the show, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode of The Why. What's your purpose?